I done had big wins from baby steps. Impatience in the past, be like, damn, we ain't made it yet. Making these moments last is probably my greatest flex. I'm sweeping the competition to clean up my latest.
What it do? It's your boy DNA Picasso. I'm here with the legend, Jeremy Pape. We back again at Welcome to His Studios for another episode of You Gotta Hear This. And today we're going to be talking about live shows and what it means to play live, why it's important, and just kicking it off. I think performing live is probably the best way you can engage with fans. I know we live in a digital age where it's easy to like send stuff to people and gain this online presence, but nothing beats the in-person live show experience. And so as an artist, live shows is probably where you're going to make most of your money anyways. And I think it's important to figure out how to get into the live market. So I'll kind of give y'all a little bit of what I did to get into it. I did a lot of trial and error. I didn't have mentors or anybody really giving me the game. I just kind of jumped into it. And I think my very first show, it was a show that was way too big for me. I opened up for Chitty Bang at my college, and it was just like insane, like hundreds of people in the crowd. I was so unprepared. I had no breath control. I was running around stage tired. I think I was drunk. Like I did all the things wrong on that show, but I had the time of my life. And in that moment, I realized that I really, really, really wanted to perform more and I wanted to perfect that craft. And it took a long time to get to where I'm at now, but I did everything from like going to local open mics. If there were open mics happening in the city, I was there. I was literally at every single open mic I could be at because open mics are low pressure. You don't have to figure out how to sell tickets. Most times it's probably like a door entry fee. You pay that little fee and you get to perform. Most times, though, you're performing in front of other artists. So open mics, and the point of an open mic is really to like perfect your craft, test your songs in front of other artists because we're probably some of the best tastemakers as artists. So we know what sounds good. We know what we like to hear. And so going to open mics, testing your music in front of a new crowd or a new group or a new room of people, and also finding new potential collaborators. That's what I did to build my network with artists that I wanted to potentially get on a song with or write a song for or with. And I met a lot of good people back in the day. There was an event called The Vault, and I forget where it was at, but I met like all the dogs there, like from producers like Wick Jones to I think I met like Neptune back in the day over there, like just a lot of different people. And then after a while, I started to deal with an organization called Afton, and I really thought I was onto something. But they were doing shows at the Roxy. I think you would sell like 30 tickets, you get paid like $1 or $2 per ticket, and you're performing in front of a crowd full of people, but you probably have like an 8-minute set. There's probably 25, 30 artists on the lineup that night. It was like pandemonium chaos. It was honestly hell to perform at after shows. And I learned my lesson from that. And I that's when I realized that like the pay to play structure was kind of odd unless you really have it in the bag. Um, and then I think after my run with Afton shows, I was trying to tap in with the AEG and Live Nations and trying to get on some of these other venues. So I think I started at like Lost Lake, Larimer Lounge, those smaller venues. So I would hit up the talent buyer at Larimer Lounge. Let's say there's like an artist who's, kind of underground and he's doing rap or he's doing a genre that I'm doing. I'd hit up the talent buyer. I think at the time it might have been Tony Mason, or I think it was Tony Mason at the time at Larimer Lounge. So Tony Mason gave me a lot of my shows at Larimer Lounge. It was super dope. I was able to just kind of like get the vibe of what working with the real talent buying agency was like. And it was super cool. It was straightforward. They give you amount of tickets, you sell those tickets, you profit off of your hustle. And I personally like that the most because I think it sets a good precedent and it helps people realize that the hard copy ticket is king over anything, over Spotify listeners, over followers, over streams. The hard copy ticket is king. If you can sell hard copy tickets, you can win in this industry. If you can't, it's going to be a little tougher. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so after the Larimer Lounge shows, I think I was more interested in figuring out different, like unconventional ways of performing in front of crowds without having to continuously sell tickets to the same people in the same market. And so at the time, like me and my dogs shameless plug. I got the last ones left on right now, the whole fit, you know what I'm saying? But me and my dog's last ones left, we literally were doing like pool parties. We were working with the clubs. We were doing fashion shows. So anytime that I got the opportunity to perform in front of like a club full of people, I was doing that. Or at a fashion show or like a pool party, I was doing that because those events aren't concerts. They're parties that you're performing at. So it's cool. And it's a great discovery option. You get to be a part of the party vibe without making people feel like they're there to just watch you the whole time. So that was cool for me. Um, and I think after a while, I got on the road. I got on the road, started traveling, started doing open mics in like different states. I think I did some open mics around different states, but the first time I did a tour was with Top Flight Empire. They were headlining a tour. I think we did like a regional tour. We did a show in Denver, Colorado Springs, Greeley, Fort Collins, Grand Junction. We went to Utah. And then after that tour, I went to California, did some shows in California. And it was super dope. And that was like a good representation of like what the scene outside of my fans or friend group was, because I got to see if people were really rocking with the songs or people just being nice to me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a whole nother thing when it comes to performing live in your city, getting your friends out. They're gonna support you. They're your homies, but they're not a great representation of what your true fan base might look like. So it was cool to get the ability to kind of like test out some of those songs at different venues across different states. Um, then I came home kind of like frustrated a little bit. Like, what's next? Like, how am I going to keep scaling? I want to perform, but I don't want to overperform. Um, so like, what am I going to do? And I think I'll fast forward to like the 2020s where I started taking control into my own hands. I started building after all that time, I was building relationships with different talent buyers, different venue owners. And so I had the ability to like walk in and kind of create my own situation. And by that, I mean, I was booking myself on the show and curating my own lineups and dealing with like the box office and settlement and all that, trying to understand deals for myself so that when I'm going anywhere, I know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I know how these deals work. And each deal and each venue is going to be different every time. But I really wanted to understand how it worked so that I can kind of be self-reliant when it came to shows. And also, there's a little level of like promoters can be shady sometimes. They'll inflate the cost of things. They'll like they'll take most of the split from you. And I didn't really want to deal with that. And so yeah, like I said, I took matters into my own hands and started booking myself. So I think my first show that I really, really, really like sold out was with Tony Mason after my The Color Blue album release, May 2023. We were at the Buzzard. I sold about 200 tickets myself. The capacity was about 300. We sold that venue out. It was super dope. My first sellout under my belt. We sold out the Gothic before, but it was me and a couple other artists, and it was like I ended up selling like 150 tickets or something, like 120 tickets at that show. But it was cool to like do my own headline, book the whole lineup for the show, deal with the promoter myself, and establish a relationship with the venue owner. So that was super dope. And then yeah, so that's my hustle, and now I'm like getting booked to perform at colleges and museums and festivals. I've gotten paid to perform at libraries and like Denver libraries and like all types of stuff around the city. City council meetings, like just because of the hustle that I've kind of built. You know what I'm saying? But that's my story on how I kind of expanded my live music stuff. If you're a brand new artist and you're trying to figure out how to get on a show, I would say start with open mics. Broadway on Roxy has open mics. I think Appaloosa has live music. Don't know what your mom's house is doing right now, but I think they're still doing open mics. River Bar and Gallery is doing open mics. Tap in with She Who Won't Be Named. She got Beats Bodega and Inner Circle going every single week. There's like weekly opportunities to go outside and perform in front of a crowd without having that pressure of having to sell tickets to people when they don't even know who you are or what your music sounds like. So I would say lean into open mics. You're not gonna build a huge fan base at open mics. The open mics are just to test the songs, maybe connect with potential collaborators, connect with the promoter who's throwing it, and then after a while, I would say tap in with the Lost Lake, Globe Hall, Larimer Lounge, Marquise Theater, Summit Theater, like all these venues who are Cervantes Masterpiece, Cervantes, like the ballroom and the other side. Like tap in with all these venues, go to their website, see what shows they're performing at. If it's a show that aligns with your style, your genre, maybe reach out to the talent buyer and see if they're accepting openers for this show. And just yeah, just I would say kind of test your chops on those stages. And then when you're ready to do your own headline and you feel like you've gotten your fan base, you can push 50, 75, 100, 150 tickets, tap in with the bandwagon presents or even go back to Cervantes and tell them, look, now I know I've opened up here, but now I want to do my own headline here. If you're in Fort Collins, you can tap in with a ton of the venues up there. FoCoMX, they have connections with a lot of the venues up there. You can tap in over there. Colorado Springs, Bandwagon Presents also does stuff out of there, and Greeley and Denver. So I would start at these small venues. I know everybody wants to kind of perform in front of a large crowd at big venues, but start small. Start small, figure out how to sell out these small venues and make that demand go up and up and up. And I wrote down a list of some other opportunities that I feel like artists could take advantage of when it comes to performing live. Let me see. Let me pull that up real quick. I already talked about open mics. Let me see. And then the small music venues, the Larimer Lounge, the High Dive, the Roxy Theater. If you're making other types of genres or other genres of music like rock, pop, singer-songwriter, the Living Room does stuff, the Rock Inn does stuff. And then festivals, like we have some of the dopest festivals in Colorado right now. So my two favorites are UMS, the Underground Music Showcase, and FoCoMX. And it happens up in Fort Collins. So FoCoMX books over 400 artists across 30 stages over 2 days, so Friday and Saturday. And it's super dope. They book artists from all over Colorado. And really when it comes to getting booked at festivals, it's real competitive. You got thousands of submissions and only a couple hundred artists can be selected. And so when it comes to wanting to be booked for festivals, I would first attend the festival and get a feel for the environment, right? And then I would say if there's like lineup release parties associated with the festival, go to those things. Go meet the people who are organizing the festival. Go meet the talent buyers. Go tap in and be known so that they can see your face. Do different things around the city that will make a festival talent buyer want you on their festival. And half the time, I hate to say it, but a lot of people want to get on these festivals, and the festival is a highlight of their year. The festival cannot be the highlight of your year. Otherwise, you probably won't play it. You need to be doing things outside of that festival, booking your own headline shows, getting booked at other events. You know what I'm saying? Are you dropping music? How are your videos looking? Are you going on a press run? Like all those things contribute greatly when it comes to like being considered for a festival spot. So yeah, festivals are dope. FoCoMX, UMS, Steel Music City Showcase. There's a lot of stuff. And then there's like bluegrass festivals and country festivals around the city. And then there's other community events that I would say, even though this doesn't have to do with live performance, I would definitely tap into different community events. So like Coco Events Group does stuff. Colorado Music Industry Alliance, we do stuff. Women in Music does stuff. Youth on Record does stuff. Like go outside and connect with the community. Because I think when these people realize who you are and they see you around, you'll just be top of mind, So just tap in and support something before you expect to be supported or booked for something. And then in other collaborative spaces, like right now, Welcome to Studios, the amount of artists that come through this spot, crazy. Like doing things. Another thing that I did to kind of expand my market was I would pay people. Like I'd pay videographers, I'd pay photographers, I'd pay engineers to book with them, because when I'm in the studio and a rapper that I've been hearing about in the city is walking into the studio, I get to introduce myself, or I'm playing a record in the studio. Now they're hearing it. They might jump on it or they might not. But at the end of the day, like, you get to meet people in these different spaces. When you come here, we just did a content days here a couple weeks ago. And bro, that shit was crazy. It was dope. The amount of people who were in here who didn't know each other, stuff like that is how you meet new people. And now there's people who are collaborating now based off of meeting folks at that event. Like, I might hire a creative director or something, or like find more photographers to work with because they were right there. So like getting more involved in community spaces is super dope, and a great way to just get on the radar. And then I say other like online communities and social media groups. So there's an open mic. There's Open Mic Nights Denver. Is a Facebook group where they talk about all the open mics. Like, there's open mics all around the city, a bunch of them. Like, literally, you could perform every single night if you wanted to. Off the Cuff is on Wednesdays at Meadowlark. Iman does that. Name spelled backwards does that. And then there's a thing called Denver Musician Finder on Facebook, and it literally connects artists with gigs. Like, there's so many opportunities out here to eat, to perform live. And I think building your fan base means like doing something that's really going to connect with your audience, and making them feel like they're a part of your journey. And get an email list, get a website, because you want to like track that data and make sure that you know who your fans are. Because we don't own these platforms. We don't own Facebook. We don't own Instagram. If that shit shuts down, your fans are gone. Your fans are gone for real. My professor in my music business program talked to me about how he had like 70,000 followers on MySpace. And the day that MySpace went dark, he lost all his fans because he didn't have an email list. He didn't have a way to kind of keep track of those people. And so kind of hearing that story kind of put a fire under me. And now I got an email list. Now I'm making sure I'm like getting all the emails that I possibly can, just to kind of collect that data. So yeah, it's a challenge, it's tough, but if you want to get to it and if you mean it, you're gonna figure it out. And there's support. Like, I'm here. There's a lot of good people in the city who you can kind of turn to and ask for advice. But yeah, go back, listen to some of those opportunities that I gave, tap in with some of the names that I spoke on. And yeah, get busy. Let's go.
Can we do a quick Q&A?
Yeah,
I got two quick questions for you.
absolutely.
Okay, so the first one is, how do you go about building your email list?
I would say, if you're doing hand-to-hand tickets, one, I would say a lead generator. First off, a lead generator is going to be the way that you build your email list the easiest. So give somebody something in exchange for their email. It can be anything from like a coupon. If you're an artist, it could be like a coupon on merch or free merch, or it could be discounted tickets. It could be a free song, an unreleased record, something of some sort of value. Could be a lead generation tactics to be able to get people's emails for your email list. But also, like, when people are buying stuff online, if you have a website and people are making orders online, export those CSV files, and import it into like a Google spreadsheet, or like an Excel spreadsheet, and make sure that you have everybody on the list. But also, like, if you don't want to have to deal with like the FTC or and those folks, go tap in with like a MailChimp or like a Squarespace account. These these platforms that can manage your email list. But yeah, I would say collect emails at shows, collect emails at pop-up events when people buy your merch or tickets. Use your online platform, social medias, to ask your followers to join your email list. Maybe put your email list link in your bio or something like that. Tons of ways.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then the other question I had was, are EPKs still a thing? Electronic press kits? People still use those to get booked, or is it mostly just have a good website now?
I think if you have a good website, that works, because it's more, chances are if you have a great website, it's more comprehensive than the EPK will be. But I think EPKs are always going to be relevant because it gives people who don't know you at all a one-stop shop or one sheet to what you're doing, what your analytics are, what your music sounds like, what your style, what your visual aesthetic. And it can only help your chances. Like, having an EPK will never hurt you. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Make sure you tap in, you like and subscribe the Welcome to a Studio YouTube page. Please stay tuned in for the You Gotta Hear This podcast. And we out.
I done had big wins from baby steps. Impatience in the past, be like, damn, we ain't made it yet. Making these moments last is probably my greatest flex. I'm sweeping the competition to clean up my latest mess.